All right, we got him. There we go. All right. Can you hear me, Nick? We got it.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let's get started here. So we're a couple minutes after, so I'm actually going to broadcast this in the Facebook group. So now anybody that has questions, we're going to do Q&A afterwards. And you can definitely go ahead and you can ask all of your questions in the chat. And we'll go ahead and we'll knock out as many questions as we can. Nick, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of tell everybody what your expertise is and kind of, what you're going to be talking about today? And I'm going to get this going in Facebook and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Nick Werker. I actually run the marketing department for Answering Legal. We're a 24/7 answering service for attorneys. But my role is to really provide education to, not only our customers, but to any attorney out there who wants to learn how to grow their practice, perform better legal intake, kind of anything that can help them get customers, retain customers, and improve their overall processes.
Cool. And anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Andy Stickel. I create a ton of content on the topic of law firm marketing and helping lawyers get more clients for their law firm. And right now I've been in overdrive helping clients that desperately need help right now, where maybe intake is slowing down a little bit. And, we've been going overboard for our own clients. We're actually implementing a lot of social media stuff right now because, honestly, right now you have to adapt to the changing climate of what's actually happening right now. And honestly, there's a lot of opportunity right now. And what happens right now, like what you do right now, is absolutely going to play a direct role in kind of what happens on the other side of this thing. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to teach as many lawyers as possible how to take advantage of the opportunity that you have right now. And I really, truly do believe it's an opportunity because there's a lot of new things right now. And there's a lot of ways that your competitors are kind of just burying their head in the sand and just trying to hope to survive through this whole thing. But there's a lot of lawyers that I'm also working with right now that are consistently getting cases. So what I want to do on this webinar is I want to teach you guys what we're seeing right now. Was working for myself because I'm a big part of I'm a big fan of drinking my own Kool-Aid. But what I always want to do is I always want to make sure that I'm teaching stuff that's actually actionable, because that's the biggest thing for us. So, I've got a couple of things that I want to talk about, but Nick, just to kind of start us off, what are some of the things that you're seeing lawyers doing right now that you think is actually working in this time of crisis?
What do I think that they're doing right now? I think a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing lawyers do is just letting the community know that they're still there for them. So like a big thing that we're focusing on right now is obviously employment lawyers and bankruptcy lawyers, just because these people are having problems. And like, that's the unfortunate circumstance that we deal with, is a lot of the times we're dealing with people who have a lot of issues. That just happens to be one of the issues right now. Letting everybody know that they're still open and available, putting out content saying, even though the coronavirus is happening and blah, 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 if you're affected, just know that I'm here, open, available to help. And it's also really good to put out a lot of like educational stuff. Like, here's what you can be doing while this is going on for their customers. So I've seen a bunch of people put out some sort of, like, I've seen a bunch of bankruptcy lawyers put out content on how to survive financially. I got an email, which was really good. It was local and government business loans that you can be taking advantage of. So obviously, it's just educational. They're not getting anything from this, but they're the source on how you can go about getting these loans, how you can go about getting relief. And then you kind of become the guy to go to when they actually have further questions about legal matters.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this actually kind of falls along the line of something that I've been talking about for, I actually created a video a couple days ago, about a week ago, called PSA marketing. And this is something that I've been talking about for a long time, because there's a lot of lawyers that don't necessarily have a lot of cash coming in right now. And they think, well, I can't, people aren't searching in Google and you know, I don't really have a lot of money, or I don't want to spend a lot of money on advertising right now. So what do I do? So PSA marketing is really along that exact line. What you can do is you can kind of use your friends and family to help you promote your law firm. And this is something that I call PSA marketing, because the content that you create that you can put out on your own social media profile, like your personal page, if you put it out like it's a PSA type thing, where basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to just be helpful and just provide information, then what ends up happening is people will end up looking at your content and they'll be like, wow, that's really great information, and they'll share it. So you kind of avoid what I call the Cutco effect. And the Cutco effect, I call it Cutco because when I was in college, I don't know who here remembers public service announcement. Yeah. It's basically like public service announcement. Like you're making a public service announcement, because there's so much bad information out there right now. Nobody knows what to believe. I mean, whether it's from, you know, there's so many different things on Facebook right now that nobody knows what to believe. So I say, if you create content that's kind of like a public service announcement, where you say, hey guys, I'm an attorney. I've seen a lot of bad information out there and I want to set the record straight. If you are going through it, if you have a child custody agreement, like for example, if you're a family law attorney, you say, if you have a child custody agreement, there's a lot of times these things depend on school schedules. Well, school's not in right now. So what do? Well, you can do, you know, here's the truth about what can actually happen. And here are some of your options. And basically you give really good options, just like you are actually giving somebody, you know, like somebody that was a consultation, or you can tell them you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this. And, you know, honestly, right now we're going to have to compromise because everything's crazy right now. And then what you can do is you can say, you know, so if you know anybody that has a child custody issue going on right now, tag them in this video or share this so that they see it. And what'll end up happening, and then at the end of the video, like, don't say anything like call me today for a free consultation. What you want to do is you want to talk to the camera like you're talking to a friend. And then what you can do is you can say at the end of the video that call to action should be something like, you know, if you have any questions, just shoot me a direct message or give me a call. Here's my phone number. And Nick, you can talk about how you can handle the phone calls a little bit also. But you know, if you just try to be helpful and try to provide really good information, because right now you have to remember, people are scared. That's the biggest thing that you have to remember right now, is people are scared and they don't know what to believe, because there's so much bad information out there. There's so much blatantly wrong information, and even what's on the news is wrong. I'm not going to get political, but like, I mean, I know even recently there was something going around where people were like, if you hold your breath for 10 seconds, you can tell if you have coronavirus. And they were reporting that, like reporters were on the news reporting this, and it's total BS. It's not correct. You know what I mean? So if you can like figure out like, okay, who are the people that I'm trying to serve? Who are my potential clients, right? And what are the exact problems that they have? Like, what are the specific problems that they have right now? And literally take out a piece of paper and write every single problem that they have down. And then basically you can write down like what you can say, like what the misconception is, or maybe what the thing that they don't understand is. And then you can create a video, and literally, I mean, this is all you need, your phone. Just use your cell phone, record a quick 2 or 3 minute video, share it on your personal Facebook page. And as long as that video is helpful and is not like a blatant sales pitch, then you'll avoid what I was calling the Cutco effect before, which is basically anyone that has ever gone to college probably was approached by Cutco salesmen. And Cutco, I don't know if you remember, they have those knives that and the scissors that can cut pennies and all that stuff. And basically with Cutco, I'm pretty sure that their business model is just finding people that you know, are willing to go and try to like buy a set of knives and then sell that set of knives to like their next door neighbor and their aunt and uncle and maybe their parents. And then they just get out of the business. So like the Cutco knife is basically, the Cutco effect is where basically you're trying to just, you know, pawn your services off, or you're trying to just sell your services to your close friends and family. And everybody wants to avoid that just because of the fact that it's awkward. Nobody really wants to do that. You know what I mean? And honestly, you would hope that if somebody, you know, a friend or family member or something like that, you would hope that if they have a problem, they're going to come to you anyway. And, you know, you're not going to have to advertise for them, but you can get them, as long as it's really good information, they will share that content. And that's, we're having all of our clients do that right now. And it's working really, really well. We had a client, actually last Monday, we told a client, he's a criminal defense attorney. And he's actually one of our agency clients. I was like, listen, you need to, you know, start recording these videos. I think he did like 3 or 4 videos. And he already got a client. By Thursday, he'd already gotten a new client. And this is in an industry where people are like, yeah, nobody's driving, nobody's getting arrested or things like that, you know? So It's definitely there. You just have to approach it in a different way. And all you have to do is provide value. That's the biggest thing you can do, is just provide as much value as possible, and people will find you. Do you have anything to add on that, Nick, like in terms of like what they can do?
Yeah, I want to piggyback on that actually. A big thing that one of my colleagues and I have been working on is establishing expertise. We try to get our clients to become the source of information. So kind of what I was saying before, where, maybe you send out an email to your customer saying, this is where you can get these loans that the government is providing. Here's some information on, your relief check, when you can expect that. And just be kind of proactive in, obviously you want to fact check everything, because there's a lot of like false narratives going on around there. I know you were mentioning that, Andy. But as long as it comes from a .gov website or maybe the CDC, and just kind of keep people up to speed on what's going on, what they can expect. I know I get a lot of my customers' emails just by nature of working with them. And I got, somebody sent me a calculator for how much of a check I can expect to receive from the relief. So, I mean, that's another good example for like employment, bankruptcy attorneys, right? That's what mainly we're focused on right now, is because those are the people seeing a surge in business. Is send out to your clients the calculator for how much they can expect to receive a relief check for. And
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And another good thing is the counterpoint is, here sometimes when you might not want a relief check, because that's another way to kind of get people's attention. Because right now, like ever since that bill came out, I've seen probably, 30 or 40 different articles and things about how, here's the bill broken down and how it affects your business and how to apply to it and all that type of stuff. So if you can kind of take the counterpoint, sometimes that's enough to get people to, especially if you can bring up questions that maybe like your ideal clients would kind of maybe apply to some of your ideal clients, then, you can actually start those conversations with, hey, do you have any questions? If you're a business attorney, hey, do you have any questions about, if you should actually even take the check? I know for my business, for example, we're not going to go, we looked at everything and we're not actually going to take one. We're not going to apply for anything, so it's not right for everyone. And a lot of people don't realize that. The other thing is like, talking about if it's right for your family, or if you qualify, or like if you're a tax attorney or a bankruptcy attorney or different things like that, like, or a business attorney, what are the different, ways, like creative ways that you can qualify if maybe you don't think you qualify right away. So there's just so much stuff that you could do. And by the way, everybody, we're going to get to, I know we have a bunch of questions. I know John, William, Leonard, and Bruce all asked questions in the Q&A section. So we're definitely going to get to that. Somebody asked, what kind of information could I provide to my clients, as I'm not a doctor or a specialist in viruses? What practice area do you work on? What practice area? And you don't have to talk about, it shouldn't be about viruses. It should be about how it's impacting their life right now. So like, for example, if you're a criminal defense attorney, one of the things that you can talk about anything. I mean, like, honestly, like lockdowns are a big thing. Like, what are your rights if the government puts you in quarantine? What are your rights if there's a shutdown, all that type of stuff. Right now, domestic violence is increasing because of the fact that people are home with their spouse and they're, maybe drinking a little bit more, and maybe they're forced to spend time with somebody that they don't typically have to spend time with. And now they realize they can't stand that person. Immigration attorneys is another good one. Angelina just brought that up. We actually have a client who's an immigration attorney. They got 4 clients last week. And it's just using these tips. It's basically, thinking about what are all the problems that immigrants have right now. So for example, let's say, you're on and I'm just making some of this stuff up. Let's say you're on a visa right now and you're outside of the country. How do you get back into the country? Like what are the rules there? What if your spouse is outside of the country and like stationed, or maybe not stationed, but maybe, maybe they're like an expat or something like that. There's so many different things that you can do. Just think about every single problem that a potential person, if they have like a fiance that's overseas and maybe the fiance is quarantined and you can't get to them. I mean, you just got to think of everything that you can think of. Nancy said estate planning, but I don't want to prey on people's fears. That's fine. You don't have to prey on people's fears. And I don't like preying on people's fears either. I don't like saying, hey, you're going to die. This is what's going to happen. But what I like saying is, here's how you can take advantage of this opportunity, or here's the things that you need to think about in this opportunity. So for estate planning, estate planning, honestly, there's so much. The biggest thing right now is healthcare directives. Because so many people don't necessarily have those things in place. So if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner or whatever, and they get sick, are they going to be able to come see you in the hospital? Or are you going to be able to see them in the hospital? What happens if they're on life support? There's so many different questions, and it's not necessarily preying on their fears, but it's giving them information that they need to know. Because unfortunately, right now there's some uncomfortable truths that are happening right now. So it's like so elder law, another one that someone just brought up. Elder law is a very, very interesting subject right now, because nursing homes and the elderly and senior citizens are really vulnerable to this thing right now. So there's so much stuff you can put in there. You said, as an elder law attorney, my clients like to know I'm still here. They can get things taken care of. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to jump in as far as the estate planning thing. I'm sorry. But if you're providing value, a lot of these things that we talk about, especially like in the legal profession, a lot of these things are unfortunate. We don't want to get divorced. We don't want to talk about planning for bankruptcy. We don't want to talk about hiring a criminal defense lawyer because I got a DUI. These are all unfortunate things. What you can do is educate people, and education is often what combats the fear that a lot of people have. So no one wants to get older and plan their estate and make sure that their will is taken care of, but it's kind of comforting to know that they have options out there, and that, you're there to take them and guide them through these problems that they're having. And I love what you were saying, Andy, about nursing homes and healthcare directors and stuff like that. This is a serious situation that we all end up, that we all ended up a part of.
Yeah.
And if you can be the voice of reason and assurance and expertise, like I was saying before, establishing expertise, you can kind of assuage people's fears, and then you become the person that they go to when they have to make that decision, when they have to get there. Or maybe they know somebody who's struggling with that, and they're going to recommend that they go to you too. That's why I like what you were saying with the public service announcement, is if you know anybody that's struggling with this, I have information, share my information, call me, and then just leave it as information. You become the expert. People have to go to you for the advice.
Absolutely. And and by the way, I apologize. I get a little long-winded sometimes, so feel free to cut me off at any time. But the one thing you said, which is 100% right, is it's not about fear-mongering. It's about alleviating people's fears. Because the reality is that, like I said, people are very scared. And the reason that they're scared is because, people are scared of the unknown. They don't know what's going to happen. So the more information that you can give them, and the more credible information that you can give them, the more comforted they're gonna feel. And you have to remember that people, when it comes down to marketing and sales and things like that, and getting back to why we're all here, people make decisions based on emotion, and then they justify later using logic. So what does that mean? That means that you are not in the business of selling legal services. You're in the business of selling emotion. You're in the business of selling peace of mind and all these different, and comforting all these fears, and basically let them know that their problems are understood and that their problems are now your problems. So that's one of the biggest things that, you have the opportunity right now, is you have the opportunity to calm people's fears. And when you can calm people's fears with good, solid information, then they're going to hang on to every word that you say, and they're going to want to see more from you. And then eventually they're going to want to hire you. And that's what we're seeing. This happened for several clients that we're working with right now. And it's crazy how well it works. And it's working, in all industries, even as a law firm marketer. There's a lot of lawyers that are not sure what to do right now. They're scared of the future. So basically, I can create content like this that gives you a definitive plan of what to do. And doing that, it calms a lot of people down. It gives you almost like homework assignments rather than just sitting there staring at the phone, waiting for the phone to ring, And one other thing that I wanted to bring up, another cool thing that you can do, a really good opportunity, is when you're creating this content with all these when people have all these problems and all these issues, what you can do is you can also create these videos and send them to news reporters. Because right now the reporters are looking for so much content that they can create, content that they can put out there, because there's only so many, the coronavirus is a big story, but there's so many problems that other people have, that if you can go take these videos and also get them in front of news reporters and, journalists and things like that, then what'll end up happening is you'll end up getting featured on the news as well. And then that's even more credibility that you can go and share. And what that does is that'll get you in front of more people. It'll get you more advertising, more free content, all that type of stuff. And then it'll also form a relationship with you, because people always take the path of least resistance. So when this thing is over, it's only going to be a couple months, but this thing will be over. Now you've got contacts in the media that whenever they have a question related to immigration or criminal offense or estate planning or whatever it is, they're going to come to you, and you now have that, free publicity wheel right there.
Yeah,
so that's
I've
something
seen,
else that's
I've
really
seen
cool.
a lot of people in the chat talking about how they're a criminal defense attorney and it's slow. And this is something that you can do that Andy mentioned before is tell people what their rights are if there is a lockdown, if there is a shutdown, if you have been laid off. And if you can be fortunate enough to get into the media and kind of deal with these things, you become, again, like an expert. You become the guy that they want to go to. But I'm always surprised when I deal with like reporters and stuff like that they actually want to hear from me. I always assume that they're busy and they have big stories to cover, but they're looking and they're interested to hear from you. So if you reach out to a reporter, they're not going to tell you, no, what you have is dumb. They're going to appreciate your feedback, and they're probably going to feature you in at least a story.
Absolutely. You got to remember, like, anytime you can be valuable to anyone, it's going to be in your favor, and reporters are human. I mean, they've got deadlines. They half the time they're going for clicks, right? So they're always trying to figure out, okay, what else can I talk about? What else can I talk about? And a lot of times they don't know. So if you can give them valuable stories, and here's the thing you should do. The best way to do this is to do as much work for them as possible. So rather than just saying, hey, it'd be really cool if you did a story on this, you should actually take the time, film a video, record the video. And actually, if you do like a 2-minute video, you can even send it to them on Twitter, because Twitter is actually where most of the reporters hang out. So what you want to do is you want to go to Google and search for, like ABC, wherever you're located. So like I'm in Tampa. So it'd be like ABC Tampa local reporters, and then NBC Tampa local reporters, and just go through, do that for the newspaper and everyone. And then just kind of start looking at which types of articles and what types of pieces they've put out. And then ones that have done things that are kind of similar, like even somewhat similar to anything that you could talk about, start sending them story ideas and do a lot of the work for you. And don't just say, hey, you could talk about this, but tell them why they can talk about this and how many people it impacts and what, like, do a lot of the work for them, because you got to remember, people will follow the path of least resistance. If you give them a story that's pretty much ready to go, they're going to use it because it's less work. It's just human nature,
Yeah. Actually, Chase Musser posted a great tip. Twitter is a great place to find journalists.
Yeah.
What you can do is you can go to your local media and just see who's writing the articles about what you're trying to get into, and then try to find them on Twitter, or you can find them on the website. Just Google their name. I usually, like, I have a good example. I have a scholarship that we do every year with my company, and we try to get it in local media and papers and stuff like that, just for the buzz and to get more applicants so that we can help more people. So we reached out to this local Rhode Island newspaper, and my colleague Joe, he was a journalist major at Stony Brook like years back. So he says the same thing. They don't want to do any of the work. You do all the work for them, and they decide whether or not they want to use that information. Mm-hmm. So we wrote up this whole human interest piece on this guy that we gave the scholarship to. We didn't even really mention ourselves. And the scholarship ended up getting featured in the newspaper. And all the person wrote back to me was, oh, can I have his contact information? I want to call him, ask him about his childhood, his upbringing. And he just needs to sign this release form for us to use his picture in the paper. And it went up like a week later. Yeah. So it's really easy. They're really easygoing, and everything Andy said is true. Make them do a lot less work than you think they want to do, and just provide them with all the information, because ultimately you want your information to be featured in the piece and you to be the expert. So definitely, that was great.
And what's cool is they'll keep coming back to you over and over and over again, because they know that if they come back to you, if they go to you, you're going to give them really good content. So it just works really, really well. We had a client today's Monday. So not last Friday, but the Friday before that, she started doing this. She's a personal injury attorney down in Miami. And she started tagging the local radio DJs. I'm not sure exactly what she was doing, but she was definitely doing something where she was providing them with a lot of information. She's a personal injury attorney, and she ended up, now she's like on they bring her on like once a week And she's not paying for it, but she's basically just giving them such good information that they brought her on last week. I think they're having her on again this week. And it's really blown up for her. And she's gotten really good results out of it. Somebody asked me I saw somebody mention in the chat, and I apologize. There's so many comments right now. I can't really take them all, but we're going to, we're actually cataloging them all, and we'll go through and do a Q&A after this. But for personal injury, some of the things that you can talk about is, I mean, there's so many different things that you can talk about with personal injury, which is, first of all, like, what are insurance companies doing right now? Like if somebody's in an accident or somebody's dealing with a claim right now, what are insurance companies doing as far as like delayed payments for if they're working on like skeleton crews and stuff like that? Are they processing claims? Are they doing stuff like that? Another thing that I would really do just to get your name out there for personal injury is start talking about liability for some of these businesses that are supposed to be open and they're not. So like what happens if your boss makes you come in and then you get sick? Or what happens if you own a business and somebody gets sick one of your employees gets sick and it was like a job where you could have done the work from home? I mean, a lot of this stuff, I don't really know what a lot of this is, but it's just stuff that I'm just kind of making up. It's like, how do we relate the coronavirus and everything that's going on right now to your practice area? And then the other thing is just think about like anyone that's been in an accident or anything like that recently. What are some of the issues that they're dealing with? What if someone gets into an accident right now and they can't get medical attention because the hospital is overrun with patients? Like what happens in that scenario? Like there's so many different things that you can talk about. It's like, you really just kind of need to sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and just do like a brain dump and think of like, what are all the problems that somebody that somebody is dealing with? Like, what if they get into an accident and then they can't go to the doctor, and how do they handle that situation? What are some of the ways they can document that it actually happened, or different stuff like that?
Yeah, and to go along with what you're saying, spreading information like that is not only good for now, but it's something that you can carry with you in future current events. Just because we're talking about the coronavirus right now doesn't mean that 6 months from now you can't take something that's going on publicly and spread information based on that. But what you were just saying, Andy, is I like that a lot, because personal injury attorneys and criminal attorneys are the ones that are coming to me the most and asking me, how do I get the phones to ring? Can I cancel my account because I don't need you to answer my phones? But courts are closed, and if you could be spreading information and giving out information on when you can expect your case to resume, or how to go about preparing for your case and what's going to happen, and just giving them the information to give them peace of mind, because a lot of what we're talking about is like the problems that are keeping your clients up at night, right? When I start anything new or I try to give out some like helpful information, I try to think what keeps my clients up at night. And I sit down with a paper and a pen, and I don't even go through like analytics or keywords or anything like that. I just want to know the problem that I can help my customers solve. So think about what's the problem that my customer is having right now that I can educate them on and be there for them while they're going through that problem, so that eventually I can be the solution to that problem.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So Chris DiMatteo asked, and the only reason I'm going to Chris is because I just happened to see his question, but it kind of leads me into another thing I wanted to talk about. What are some good ways to increase Facebook followers other than sponsored posts and boosts? So that kind of brings me into another strategy that I've been using a lot right now, and that I think that a lot of lawyers can be using also. Now, for me, I don't necessarily worry about how many Facebook followers I have per se, because really Facebook followers don't really mean that much. If somebody likes your Facebook page, you don't get, like, your actual personal page, you don't get that much reach on. I think Facebook is actually increasing the reach again, but it back, 2010, 2011, which I call the glory days of Facebook. That was back when if you had like 20, if you had 1,000 people on your page, 20 to 30% would see every single post that you did. So right off the bat, you do a post, at least 200 to 300 people are seeing it. And then if it gets some likes and comments and engagement, then you're going to go up to 50, 60, maybe even 70%. So those were like the heydays of Facebook advertising, when you could actually use Facebook to advertise for free. And then Facebook went pay to play. And now it's like maybe 10%, 15%, something like that. But one thing that I do all the time is that I go into other Facebook groups and I'll just comment on things and I'll just provide value. So what you need to do is you need to join Facebook groups where your potential clients are going and where they're already having conversations. Perfect example. I live in Lakeland, Florida. There's a group here called 863 Crime Watch. It's a Facebook group. And it's the craziest group because basically every single anytime there's any police lights or anytime there's an accident or anything, it always gets reported in this group. It's like 40,000 people, and it started as like a neighborhood watch group. So no one is doing this. This is an absolute amazing opportunity for a personal injury attorney to go in that group, and every time there's an accident, just start commenting and giving information. Don't go and say, hey, if you were in this accident, call me today. But what you can do is you can actually go in there and start providing value and just start helping people. And what that does is people are going to start to see what you're putting out there. They're going to start to see that you're providing really good information. They're going to get curious who you are. So then they're going to click and they're going to check out your profile. So then on your profile, in your bio, you should put, I'm a personal injury attorney and I help people do whatever I do, and then have a link to your website. Or you can even say like, personal injury attorney fighting for victims, direct message me if you need any help, or direct message me if you have any questions or things like that. And what will happen is people will do that. People will absolutely get curious when they see you providing value, and they will then go ahead and then they'll contact you. What do they say? North Carolina has very strict ethical restrictions on what attorneys can say on Facebook and other social media platforms. Attorneys, yeah, obviously you need to check with your local bar associations and make sure that you're being ethical. But I mean, I think that there's a line between giving legal advice and giving an opinion and giving like, again, you've got to figure out what works for you. Obviously, there's 50 states. I can't, you can't have blanket information for everything, but this is a really, really good way to do it. If you can go into other Facebook groups. So like, for example, if you're a family law attorney, go into parenting groups. If you're a criminal defense attorney, go into like addiction and drug addiction groups and things like that, where people are having problems and stuff like that. I mean, there's so many different places where you can figure out where your actual clients are going. And this is actually a strategy Gary Vaynerchuk came up with. It's called the $1.80 a day strategy, where basically you leave your 2 cents 90 times in different places. So it's actually pretty cool. Nick, do you ever do that? Do you ever go into other groups and provide value?
I don't know if you're baiting me. I actually met Andy because we joined his group and we just started posting, like expert opinions on.
Oh, did you really? I don't even remember that.
Oh, really? That's so funny. I didn't know if you were baiting me.
No, I don't remember.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's what you do though.
So we do that. We also started our own Facebook group, which is something that you can do eventually and grow your own audience. But yeah, we end up, I think I'm in a group called, what is it? Maximum Lawyer. And it's just
Maximum Lawyer.
Right. And there's like, how many, 20,000 attorneys in there, or 10,000 attorneys or something like that. And it's just crowdsourcing information, which is so applicable to like other industries, right? But for me, I'll keep it on the eye. I go in there and there will be an attorney who asks, what's the best way to, or what's the best phone company to use? And I deal with a lot of phone companies, and I know how to help attorneys set up their phones so that they're set up for the most success. So I'll just go in there and comment on my Facebook page. Here's who you should go with. Here are some options. Here's some links to their website. Read their client reviews. Here's how much they cost. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I don't really say anything, but if you go to my Facebook page, it clearly says I work for Answering Legal. I'm an answering service. And then if you're in touch with me and you need help with your phones and I'm the guy you go to, I can make those recommendations.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, for sure.
Like relating it back to lawyers, yeah, like Neighborhood Watch or I'm trying to think.
You just got to think of like parenting groups if you're a family law attorney. I mean, like just think of like wherever your ideal clients could be hanging out, And somebody said we have to be very careful about solicitation. Yeah, that's 100% right. But if you're doing this correctly, you should never say contact me for anything, because like my strategy is basically I see people have questions, I answer the questions, and I try to over deliver as much as possible, and then people contact me. And if you can take that strategy, then it definitely works really, really well. If you just provide really, really good value, then people are eventually going to get curious. And here's the thing, not every single person that you leave value for is going to hire you, but if you make a consistent habit of doing this, it will really, really work really well. It will really work in your favor. So, another thing is, speaking about, I see a lot of people talking about, journalists and things on the side. One thing you can do right now that is kind of this is more of a long-term strategy, but a lot of times it's like when you have opportunities right now, you can kind of start planting the seeds for a lot of this stuff. And that's something called Help a Reporter Out. Have you ever used that, Nick?
I love Help a Reporter Out, man.
Yeah. So what Help a Reporter Out is, it's HARO for short, or that's the acronym. Basically, 3 times a day, journalists go on Help a Reporter. You can go to helpareporter.com. You can sign up as a source. It's completely free. And journalists will go on there and they'll say, hey, I'm writing a story about, addiction and crimes, and we're looking for criminal defense attorneys to comment. And what you can do is you can go on there and you can get links to your website, which help boost your search engine optimization. Now, obviously, SEO is not a big thing right now, but this is something that you can start. If you've got a little bit of extra time right now, you can work on this, and you can start basically getting used to just scanning Help a Reporter Out 3 times a day and just responding to inquiries. I've been featured in the Huffington Post. I've been featured in Forbes. I've been featured in Entrepreneur. I've been featured in so many different places just from Help a Reporter Out. Have you ever gotten anything with Help a Reporter?
I don't remember. I think I've been in a couple of things, not quite as big as that, but something that I do, and somebody mentioned Quora is a great place to provide value. This is an old strategy that I haven't done in a while, but I used to go to Quora, and on all the places where lawyers are giving out advice and people are asking questions and legal advice and stuff like that, I would get display ads put on those specific pages, and you can contact Quora. And you can contact other websites like this as well. But there was a guy I used to work with at a really big agency named Stefan Bajayo, and he came up with search presence intelligence. And this is like what we're talking about, being where your customers are asking questions. Mm-hmm. And I would just get on there and put display ads, and it would just be right near where the questions were, so that I was just in the right place, maybe at the right time when somebody needed to reach out.
Absolutely. Ray brought up a good idea is to go to Google Trends and see what's trending in your city. That's absolutely right. You can look at Google Trends. Another good one is answerthepublic.com. You can put in Answer the Public. Like, you go to Answer the Public and you can put in a keyword like child custody or divorce or bankruptcy or, anything like that. And what it actually does is it goes out to Google and it finds all the questions that people ask in Google autocomplete. And it'll give you a list of sometimes 400 or 500 questions that people are asking. And you can kind of look at themes and see, okay, these are good things to talk about. So that's pretty cool.
I don't know if they do it anymore, but Avo used to do that. I had an attorney locally that I was helping out with a bunch of things. And he would always just go on Avo and answer family law questions. He would provide so much information. He would cite specific laws and stuff like that. He would go way overboard, but he would make himself sound really professional. Like he knew what he was talking about. Obviously, he does know what he was talking about. And he got a bunch of clients just from going on Avo and answering people's public questions. Yeah. Or what you can do is you look at those questions and you can see these are questions that people are answering, and then just film videos and then share them with your people, I mean, that's, at the end of the day, if you could sum up my entire marketing strategy that I've had for 3 years now, it's 2 words. It's provide value. That's basically what it is. It's figuring out how do you provide value. How do you just provide value and just give help as many people as possible. And the more people that you help and the more value you provide, the more it comes back to you. I truly believe in the karma bank. I think that the more people you help, and help without expecting anything in return, the better you will be in the long run. So I had a couple other ideas that I wanted to give out in terms of some things that you could do for marketing real quick. And then I want to jump into some Q&A. We got a ton of questions piling up, it looks like. So Nick, do you mind if I go through a couple of these ideas that I have? Did you have any other ideas that you wanted to go over, and then we can jump into Q&A? No, let's do what you had planned, and then we'll jump into Q&A. Okay, cool. All right. So I got a couple ideas for things that you can do right now that basically will either get you clients or will set you up and basically make the most of what you can do, most of your free time right now, or free time.
I know anyone that has kids. I've got 3 kids running around my house right now also, so it's not exactly, it's always challenging working from home, but here's some stuff you can do while that maybe you wouldn't have had the opportunity to do. So one of the big things is client testimonials. Now, I was thinking about this, and I really wanted to, I was really excited that I could tell all of our clients, now that you've got all this free time, you can go ask your clients to give you Google testimonials. And then Google announced that really they're pausing all their testimonials and they're freezing their Q&As, all that type of stuff. So I think that if someone leaves you a review on Google, I think that it will go through, but I don't know. It's kind of risky. I don't want to burn too many brain cells trying to get people to leave reviews on Google. So what I was thinking about is another thing you can do that I've found to be very, very important and make a huge difference in my business is actually getting video testimonials from clients. Now, the way that we get video testimonials for our clients is we actually use Zoom. And like 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was kind of a foreign concept telling lawyers, hey, you need to use Zoom. But now it seems like within a matter of like 2 weeks, everyone is now using Zoom. And I really am kicking myself that I didn't buy stock in Zoom 3 weeks ago because I would have made a lot of money. One thing you can do is you can do video testimonials with your clients where you actually interview them. And the reason that you want to do this is because you'll get better testimonials that way. So if you just let somebody, if you just say, hey, would you record me a testimonial? Half the time they're not going to do it. Actually, I'd say 3/4 of the time they're not going to do it. And then the other quarter of the time, it's going to be a testimonial that's like, the Smith law firm was really good and they did a good job, and I recommend the Smith law firm. You know, it's gonna be like this really like crappy testimonial. So what I try to do with all of my testimonials is I try to tell a story with all of my testimonials. And the way that you do that is you interview them using Zoom. So you want to ask them some very specific questions. So the first question you always want to ask them is, what was the problem that you had prior to coming to our law firm, and let them kind of tell the story, right? And then you want to ask them, why did you choose our law firm over all the other law firms available? You know, obviously there's a lot of law firms, and let them talk about that. And then you want to talk about what was the experience like with your law firm? Were there any employees or staff members that really made a big difference, right? And then they'll talk about your law firm. They'll say, oh yeah, you know, this guy was really great and they did this and they went above and beyond. They returned all my phone calls and all that type of stuff. And then what you want to say is then you want to ask them, what was the result that we achieved for you? And they'll say, you know, we won the case and we got this, and, you know, now I'm able to finally spend more time with my kids and all that type of stuff. And then you will say, now, how is your life different? Or how is the thing that we got, how is the tangible thing that we got, how has that impacted your life? So now it's, you know, we got the physical thing. So what's the intangible thing that now they gained? And if you actually follow those 5 questions and ask them and get them to interview them, then what you can do is you can actually send the video to a video editor, chop yourself out, and you'll have a really, really, really good testimonial, like a really good testimonial that actually tells the story about how they, what was number 3? What was number 3? Number 1 is what made you, I can't remember what it was. We'll have to look at the replay. I'm on the spot. I think number 1 was what made you choose our law firm. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Yeah. So basically, if you do that, then you'll get really, really good testimonials. You can send it to a video editor, and if you needed a video editor, just let me know. We've got some really good video editors that we use that I can just give you their contact information. So that's one thing that you can do that will make an impact, because better testimonials, there's a direct correlation with having good testimonials and making more money. There just is. It's just social proof. Okay.
I want to piggyback on that for 1 second.
Go ahead.
I have an insider tip based on like user submitted content, right? That's kind of what we're talking about, is getting people to basically not only testimonial, but they're generating content for you. It's video content, and you're getting them to basically be a part of your website and part of your marketing materials. Mm-hmm. There's a really, really cool up and coming review site. I don't know if anybody's heard of them yet. They're called Clutch. It's clutch.co. And they're still in the early stages, so not everybody has reviews yet.
I've never even heard of it.
Never heard of it?
No.
You gotta get on there. That's my number 1 recommendation.
All right, I'll check that out.
I was approached by them like a year ago, and they've done a big push in my industry, right? The call center industry. And now there's people who have like 20, 30 reviews, but that's nothing compared to Google. I have like 200 something Google reviews. And they're these really in-depth interviews that are third-party verified. So you go on there, And you kind of got to coordinate with your clients beforehand and let them know that this is going to happen. Because what you do is you submit their information. I think it's when they became a customer, the scope of the project, what you help them achieve, their name, things of that sort, right? And what happens is somebody from Clutch reaches out to that customer and performs this really in-depth interview about your company. So this way, it doesn't look like you kind of coerce them into giving you this interview. And not saying that that's what you're doing, Andy, but it's third-party verified. It's Clutch.
Oh yeah.
C-U-T-C-H.
Yeah. It could always be an actor on the other side.
And they rank for a lot of stuff like SEO wise, and it's given us a big boost, and we're having a lot of fun working with them. Hold on, let me type it in the thing. Clutch.
Yeah, put that in there. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, I've never even heard of it. That's cool. I got to check that out.
Up and coming, big tip.
Cool.
Secret, insider info.
Awesome. All right. So my next tip of things you can do right now to improve your law firm. One actually is check back on old leads. That's something that, what I've found when I look at all of the marketing that I do for myself is that I would say out of all the people that contact me, only maybe 1 or 2% actually will hire us on the first go. And there's a lot of lawyers that, the lawyers that we run their social media campaigns for, especially, we see this because we're involved with their direct direct marketing. Very few people ever will contact you will contact you and then hire you on the first time. A lot of times you have to follow up with people, and there's a lot of gold in those hills if you go back and touch base with people and follow up with leads that didn't end up hiring you. And this actually, I learned this when I was in college. I used to transfer people's VHS tapes over to DVD. And it's funny, what I would do is I'd go out and I'd put those yard signs up and I'd handwrite transfer your VHS tapes to DVD and my phone number. And I would get like ridiculous amounts of phone calls. And I remember the first 2 weeks, I just got a ridiculous amount of phone calls. The phone kept ringing. I was like, and they're like, oh my God, I've been looking for this. This is amazing. I'm going to go home. I've got an entire box of VHS tapes sitting in my attic, and I'm going to go home and I'm going to call you back and we're going to do this. I'm going to finally get this done. And then I would never hear from them again. And I was getting so frustrated because like the first 2 days I was so excited because I got so many phone calls and nobody ever called me back. I was like, what the hell is going on? So for some reason, I was smart enough to do this, and I don't know why. I actually kept track of everyone that called, and I actually kept their phone number, their name, and I kept notes on it. So like 2 weeks later, I got kind of pissed off, and I was like, hey, why didn't you do, like you said you were going to do this. Why did you do this? Why didn't you contact me? And they're like, oh my God, I've been looking for your phone number. So that weekend I went back, I called like 200 people. And I made like $5,000 that weekend just from following, like one simple phone call, following up with people. And that taught me that like follow-up is key. So many times people will contact you and then life will just happen and they'll just lose your phone number, or that, that's a big part of it. A lot of times they can't find you again, or they can't, if they just went to Google and searched something and then ended up on your website and called you, they might not be able to find your phone number again. So it's imperative that you follow up with them, because if you shake those trees, money will fall out. I promise you it will. And I mean, you got to remember when I was in, you're a broke college kid and all of a sudden you make $5,000. I mean, I might as well have won the lottery, So that was the biggest thing. And now we do that on, client websites, all that type of stuff. We throw Google and Facebook remarketing pixels. Google's a little tricky with remarketing because they don't allow you to remarket things that are sensitive. So like, for example, if you're a family law attorney, Google will not allow you to, basically it's kind of like something that you wouldn't want your boss to see. They won't let you remarket unless they change that, but that's how it used to be. So we typically don't do that. So that's a good one, is check back on old leads, because you'll probably get some stuff out of there. Another thing is the team selfie hack. Have you ever heard of the team selfie hack, Nick?
No.
All right. So the team selfie hack is something I actually talked about at PILMA when I was in Las Vegas. I did a presentation on ranking your law firm in Google or in the Google Maps at PILMA in Las Vegas. And basically what the team selfie hack is, on the Google My Business profile, you can upload pictures of your team, right? Of your interior, your office, your exterior, your office. But what the team selfie hack is basically you go to all these different parts of your city And what you're trying to do is you're trying to expand the radius and expand how relevant you are to your entire city. And the way you do that is by getting the latitude and longitude of all these different locations around your city on your Google My Business profile. So how do you do that without being spammy? Well, what you do is you take selfies using your cell phone. I don't know if you know this, but when you take a picture with your cell phone, it actually stores the latitude and longitude data of where that picture was taken on your phone. Did you know that they do that?
Yeah.
So if you basically go to all these different landmarks around your city and have team members take pictures, take selfies, and then upload it to your Google My Business profile, then it's relevant because you can say, oh, here's Jen from accounting at the Lincoln Memorial, like in all these different things. So now you're getting the latitude and longitude of all these locations from all over the city on your Google My Business profile. But the problem is that you have to go around and actually take these pictures. Well, if you want to do this and you want kind of a simple way, then what you do is you get your staff to take pictures of themselves at their houses. And now at least you're getting multiple locations. You're getting the latitude and longitude of multiple locations that you can then upload to the team section of your Google My Business profile. And that will help you rank better. It's not the silver bullet, but it's definitely, it's like one of those, it's another box you can check, and it works like we do it for our clients, and it works really well. That's on our intake meeting for all of our clients. We every single time we get a new SEO client, we always give them, we call it a selfie scavenger hunt. And we say, okay, here's 20 locations. You need to go take selfies and send us, with your cell phone, and send us pictures there. Well, so those are a couple of things you can do right now.
My team and I will be definitely implementing that.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, it's definitely good. Okay, cool. So let me see. PSA marketing, news reporters, client testimonials over Zoom, check back on leads, Haro, team selfie hack, and $1.80 a day strategy. So those are the biggest things that I wanted to talk about today. Did you have anything else before we go to Q&A?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about remarketing. Just like what you were saying, when you reach back out to old leads, I know it's going to sound like a sales pitch, but it's really not, because I don't really care if you call me or not. But you have to make sure that someone, or you have a process set up that someone is answering your phone from your firm, or at the very least, you have a really professional voicemail greeting. I know a lot of lawyers who will put their cell phone number, contact me anytime, and they don't answer it, and it goes to their voicemail, and it's really kind of a turnoff. I always recommend them, at least, the very least, do a professional, hi, you've reached Mike Smith, so-and-so. Sorry if your name is Mike Smith and you're in the chat. That was a random name. You've reached my law office. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Please leave your name and number. But I got to say, like, the reason that doesn't work is because not a lot of people leave messages. I'm sure you had this when you were doing your video conversion, Andy, and I'm sure you get it a lot now, is not a lot of people leave voicemail anymore. They're looking for urgent answers. So when you do remarket and you get those people reaching out, it's important to have somebody talk to them. That's why what I do is my call center answers 24 hours a day for attorneys. And what that allows you to do is advertise that you're 24/7. But just my main thing is have a process set up by which someone from your office is always answering the phone. So like during the day, obviously you might have a secretary, but at night you should be forwarding, at least on a schedule. Say you have like one or two, members. The name of my company is Answering Legal. But make sure that, after hours you forward your calls to your cell phone, and you're at least trying to pick them up, or you forward your calls to your assistant or another attorney, and you take turns. My grandma actually is like, I'm not going to say her age, but she still works at a law office, and she forwards her calls to her cell phone. She's just the office manager. And at night, she talks to all these clients at night. And I'm like, that's perfect. Cool. I don't have to sell you anything. But
hold on a second. You don't give your grandma a free subscription to Answering Legal.
Come on. I'm not going to force it on her.
I'm just kidding. That's 110% right. Is you've got to have first of all, your phone should never go to voicemail. You definitely make sure that either you really should have a real person answering the phone. You want to hear a ninja way to get people to leave messages?
Sure.
On your voicemail. Okay. So, First of all, I'm going to preface this by saying people should never hear your voicemail. So this is only when the stars align and for whatever reason the answering service can't pick up or whatever, and they actually hear your voicemail. What you need to do is you need to say, hi, this is attorney John Smith. I'm not able to take your call right now, but it is extremely important to me. Leave me a message and I will return your call within 15 minutes. Or, leave me your name and your phone number and I will return your call within 15 minutes. Now, the reason that happens, or the reason that works, is because you got to remember, like most of the time when someone's calling a lawyer, it's an emergency situation. It's almost like calling 911. So if let's pretend your toilet is overflowing, right? Are you going to pick up the phone and then get a plumber's voicemail and then just leave them a message, be like, yeah, my toilet's overflowing, call me back whenever you can, and then hang up and then just sit there? No, you're going to hang up and you're going to call the next plumber, So it's the same type of thing. So now, this doesn't work 100% of the time, but it works a lot more because basically you're actually giving them an expectation of a time frame of when they're going to get a call back. So they're much more likely to leave a voicemail, and they're much more likely to kind of pause that attorney search for a couple minutes to actually give you a chance to call them back. Now, I understand that most of the time you will not be able to call them back within 15 minutes, but at least you have their contact information and you can apologize profusely, and there's a chance at getting the business, rather than if they just hang up and they're gone forever and you're never going to hear them again. And by the way, yes, there will be a recording available. I've seen a couple people ask that in the chat. We'll make this recording available to everybody. So, but yeah, no, that's great advice. Definitely making sure to have the phones answered. And answering legal is a great solution for that. So, yeah. And by the way, if you guys need any help with any, if you guys want to chat with my team about, any assistance with social media or anything like that, you can always book a call with us at call.andrewstickel.com. So anyway, that is my pitch for the day. Now we're going to jump into Q&A. So Chase, have you kind of been monitoring the Q&A? You can kind of just feed us questions.
Yeah, definitely. Let me pull it up here. So here's a good question from Jennifer. We're an estate planning firm. We have a very good closing percentage when we meet clients face-to-face, but now with remote working, we do all our consultation over the phone and clients just ask for price and lead. Do you have a good technique to close clients over the phone?
Yeah. So what you need to do is you really need to focus on, sorry, my phone's going crazy here. I'm breaking my own rule. You need to focus on asking questions. And I actually have a really good script for this. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick and I'll go through. This is basically how to sell anything to anyone. It's basically, it's really asking a lot of questions. So what you want to try to do when you get anyone on the phone is you want to basically just ask them lots of questions, and you want to figure out kind of what they're doing. So there's basically different phases of what they're actually trying to do. And I wish I have, Chase, do we have a video, the sales presentation I did for the summit? Do you remember that a couple months ago?
With the law firm marketing hacks, or the
No, the summit that I did for the law firm. It was back in December for Moshe's summit. Do you remember that?
I'm not sure, but I can check.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So basically what you need to do though, is you need to, when you're asking them questions like, I guess the question comes down to, how do you instill some urgency? What you need to do is you basically need to ask them questions. And then when they say, okay, I need to think about it. So you say, okay, the price is, $3,000 to do this. And then they say, I need to think about it. Instead of just saying, okay, then what you need to say is, okay, well, I encourage you to think about it. And definitely I don't want you to make a rush decision, but we're on the phone right now. So what are the questions can I answer for you? And what'll end up happening is they'll usually come back with more objections. Because really, you got to remember, every objection is based on uncertainty. It's based on uncertainty about you or uncertainty about them. About themselves, their ability to do it or something like that. So what you can typically do is you can just keep asking them, well, we're on the call right now and, I don't want you to have any other questions. So what other questions can I answer for you right now? And then what that will do most of the time is it will get the conversation to it'll start the conversation up again. It's really a weird tactic, but it works really, really well. So that would be my first suggestion in terms of that, is just kind of keep the conversation going. What do you think about that? And then also I have a video. If you email me, Andy@socialfirestarter.com, I've got an entire video and a script that you can use that I'll send to you, that it's basically how to sell anything to anyone. It's like a half an hour presentation I did that goes in much, much better detail than that.
I don't sell anymore. I used to be in sales before I took over a marketing role at my company. But what I do is I do handle a lot of the live chats that come into my website, where people will ask me, how much does it cost? My favorite tactic to do to those people who only care first about price is I provide them information overload about my price, down to here's what it costs per minute for my service. Here's what you get. Here's what you don't get. Here's what I don't charge for. And here's the value that I provide you. And what that does is it's sort of like what Andy's saying, it gets them engaged in the conversation, but it also provides them with more objections. Like if I tell them, you pay X amount for my service, but that comes with, full bilingual answering 24 hours a day, customizable, and you can forward to me whenever or however you want. And, I don't charge for any of that. And they'll say, oh, well, you said you're fully bilingual. Are you bilingual in Spanish? And I'll say, yeah. And then, it kind of keeps the conversation going. Like you said, the goal is to get them asking questions and to keep them engaged. Like what you're saying, how to sell anything to anybody. But I find that the more information I provide, the more questions people have, the more I can help them, and the more that they're apt towards saying, you know what, I'll do your free trial. I'll just go with you. That sounds good.
Yeah, the biggest thing is just keep them talking, and just keep asking them questions to get them to continue talking. The other thing, another side of it is basically, and this is before you're even on the call with them, is that when you provide a lot of value up front, then you're kind of decommoditizing yourself, and you're separating yourself from the other attorneys, and you're really getting rid of all of those, getting rid of the tire kickers anyway, because people want to hire you, not just any immigration attorney, or estate planning attorney. So hopefully that helps. And then send me an email. I'll send you that presentation. It'll do a little bit better job than I just did.
Right. Ready for another one?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So William had a question about the reviews. You mentioned getting more reviews. In criminal defense, matters are very personal, intimate, usually embarrassing. How do you get a client to talk about the reason they came to you without revealing that?
One thing you can do is you can position it so you can't see their face. That could be one way to do it. We actually have a client who somehow, I don't know how they did, but they did it with the lighting. I mean, I'm sure you could play with the lighting so that you can't see, those crime shows where they have the person that it's dark. Just have them in a dark room and you can answer that way. That would probably be the best way to do it, just to hide their face.
I also do, I do a lot of written interviews, and I turn them into case studies, but you can just make it so that they just answer your questions anonymously and written. And you can always do what Andy's saying, and you can turn it into a blog post as well and share it so that people can read it instead of hear it, and keep everybody's information anonymous. But if anybody's willing to share, definitely take advantage of that. But obviously you want to keep people's personal information that they want to keep personal away from the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I don't know why I was just thinking video, but yeah, you can, honestly, if you can send people those questions over email, and you can ask them to leave a Google review for you also. And a lot of people, criminal defense is a tricky one because, obviously no one wants to go on and thank their criminal defense lawyer for getting those, pesky, sexual harassment charges dropped from their personal page. So what you can even do is have them create a different Gmail account. And then, do it from there, but you'll get a better testimonial if you, those questions that I listed before, if you send them those questions, you'll get a much better testimonial.
Awesome. And are there any companies that provide free or inexpensive chat services to incorporate on your website?
My company does. I think we're $50 a month or $100 a month for unlimited chats. I can't remember. But we do. And then there's other chat services out there that are much more expensive than we are. I can't remember if it's 50 or 100 though. It's one of the two, but even still, it's a lot cheaper than like companies like Engage and stuff like that, where it's $35 a chat. Nick, do you guys provide chat services?
We are currently working on it, and it's supposed to be a secret, but for anybody here, you're getting a sneak peek very soon.
All right. So yeah, so my company does an answering legal will soon.
All right. What about Google ad campaigns? Some people say it's a good time to run PPC campaigns when everyone's at home. Others say it's a bad time because everything's going on. What are your thoughts on that?
You want to take this
one? Yeah. So I do a lot of Google ads, and I do a lot of spending, and I just want to say to everybody out there and commiserate that we have to spend so much on legal terms. They're inflated. So what I have done is I have dialed my ads back, but I have not at all paused any of my campaigns. And the reason being is that even though Google Ads seems so instantaneous, it actually is constantly learning. And if you just pause your ads, it sort of takes you out of the running. And I do want to share an insider tip that the minimum spend in Google Ads for them to like concurrently run your campaigns constantly is $1,000. So if you're spending less than $1,000 in Google Ads and you're wondering why your ads aren't constantly running, or there's a gap, or when you go to look for yourself, you're not there, it's because you're not hitting their $1,000 threshold. That was kind of like a lull announcement. But
is that per day, or per week, or per month, or just lifetime?
It's $1,000 per month. So if you're not meeting the $1,000 per month threshold, I forget what actually happens, but there's a weird like gap in the concurrency of your ads. And I just don't want to take myself out of Google learning about my customers and my click-through rate. And to me and my company, $1,000 a month, especially we're still getting leads from it. So if your Google ads are working for you and you're not having any trouble with it, I would definitely encourage you, if you have to lower your spend, definitely continue meeting that $1,000 threshold. But I'm sure Andy provides some great value to his attorney customers, and you should definitely retain his services.
So we've got a couple clients, actually specifically one DWI attorney in New Jersey, who the problem that we're having right now is that he's just not spending. There's not enough search volume for him to hit his spend, which is challenging. But we're not turning anything off because he's not spending. If no one's searching, then he's not spending pretty much. So it's like we're leaving it on. But the thing that is crazy to me is a lot of times lawyers, they hit tough times, or really anyone. I mean, this is human nature. This isn't just lawyers, but basically things start getting tough and then they can't, get business. So then they cut their marketing. But the problem is that the marketing and the advertising is the one thing that's bringing the clients in. So it's kind of like, how do you expect to bring in the clients if you're not doing the marketing? Now, the exception is if you're going to, you can pay for your marketing with your time or your money. Most of what we talked about today is paying for marketing with your time, because that's really what's happening right now. Because even if you wanted to spend $1,000 a day on DWI terms in New Jersey, it's not happening because people aren't searching, So, but at the same time, there's other things you can do, like Facebook ads, which are proactive. All these types of videos that we talked about, you could boost them. I don't like boosting, but it's the easiest way for most people that are not tech savvy to get more reach. Is you could take these videos that solve problems and you could boost them, or if you know a little bit of Facebook ads, you can run them through Ads Manager and reach a little bit more people. But I don't think that I would cut. I mean, we're not cutting ads for anybody. It's just they're not spending as much because the search volume isn't there. But look, if people are searching for it, then it means that they're looking for the services. So I wouldn't cut anything because it means they're looking for the services.
Yeah, and my impressions are only down like 10 to 15%. So it's really not that decrease that. Excuse me. It hasn't decreased that much for me anyway. I don't know if that speaks for everybody, but again, Google is constantly learning. So if you pause your ads, it sort of takes you out of their running for placement. And when you come back,
their algorithm,
you have to get that snowball effect.
Yeah. And somebody said Google doesn't care about false clicks because they make too much money. Would you agree? I don't know that they don't care about them. I just think that they can't really do much about them. I always tell our clients, look, you gotta figure a third at least of your ads are your ad spend is wasted. That's what I think anyway. Maybe, and I think it's different for different verticals, but one issue is that marketers will see that, you know, especially in like personal injury attorneys where it's notoriously expensive, they see, okay, these are the guys that are willing to spend $200 a click. So I'm going to click on their ad, then I'm going to call them and I'm going to try to sell them marketing services. So that happens a lot.
It's pretty funny.
Hey, so, all right, you had mentioned people looking for Facebook groups to join and then provide value in those Facebook groups. What about for personal injury or criminal defense? Where should they look? What should they look for?
Yeah. So what I always tell people is don't focus on the specific type of case. So don't focus on a specific type of like crime, for example, or a specific type of injury. Focus on a specific type of person. And that is how you can figure out like, okay, who's my ideal client and what is it that they want? Like that's so much of like this game is figuring out like, who is my ideal client and what do they want? What are they trying? What do they want? What are they afraid of? What do they want to avoid at all costs? All that type of stuff. You know, and that's, and then basically using that information that really should shape all of your marketing moving forward. I mean, like, for example, I literally do that exact same thing. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I have a book. It's called How to Get More Law Firm Clients Without Losing Time and Money or Getting Screwed by a Marketing Company. So it's literally, I figured out lawyers want more clients and they want to avoid losing time. They want to avoid losing money. And so many lawyers out there have a story or many stories about getting screwed by a marketing company. So I literally just made that my title, and that's the message that I use with everything. So when you think about the client and you think about him as kind of like a real person, and I always think it's, I don't like when people say, oh, find your avatar and what, you know, what TV shows do they watch and all that type of stuff. That's a little extreme, but if you can at least figure out a basic demographic, and then you can figure out like, and honestly, it can be like, so for example, if you're targeting, like, I always talk about parents of teen drivers. That's always a really good one. So then you can go into parenting groups and you can, you know, and you can, if you're motorcycle, like if you're a personal injury attorney, you can go into motorcycle riders groups, like bikers groups and different things like that. And just anywhere that you can think about where your ideal clients are hanging out and just provide value. Now, where you're going to get in trouble and where you have to be very careful is don't just go in and start spamming the group. You've got to actually provide value. That's the most important thing, is just provide value. Just don't do sales pitches. Don't do anything like that. That's kind of my thought. You just have to think about where are they hanging out, you know? Yeah.
And also align it with your own interests. I mean, cause that's sort of how you have it in, right? So, I know a bunch of attorneys that they do what you say, but they are motorcycle riders. So they'll go into these biker groups and be like, hey, like, here's my retro Harley Davidson, or here's my old Indian, or here's my brand new Yamaha or my Suzuki or whatever. And they participate in these groups, and then they let it be known that, like, oh, if you're ever like in trouble, you should call me, or if you get road rash or this or that, or if somebody ran you off the road. But that could be for like even like hobbyists who drive old cars. Like maybe you're just really into old cars and you just get into the group that way and you're dealing with car accidents that way. But for personal injury, there's a ton of stuff where you could spin it and align it with your own interests.
Yeah. And just make sure you set your personal profile up as that, I call it a profile funnel. And if you look at mine, just go to my profile, Andy Stickel, and you'll see on my description, it's just, I help lawyers get more clients, or I help law firms get more clients, or something like that. How about jail mail? Jail mail, you should do lumpy mailers. Lumpy, put a green army man in there and send it with all of your stuff. That way, the hardest part is getting it open. So if you have something lumpy in there, I dare them not to open it. All right, Chase, what's up next?
Yeah, any advice for new law firms looking to try out Facebook advertising and how to stand out amongst the rest of the companies on Facebook?
Okay.
I have to say, a lot of the people that I speak to, and this is going to sound a little unfortunate, a lot of the people that I deal with will try to handle it by themselves and have a bad experience and then quit. Which is why I'm so fortunate to have partnered with Andy and his company. Because there's a lot of people out there who are willing to provide you with expertise and services. Just like the same way I wouldn't try to go represent myself in court. You shouldn't try to represent yourself on Facebook. And you can start out, there's small packages, I'm sure, and you can just get your feet wet and try out a bunch of different things, or they can just give you some really good advice. But my suggestion is always do not go it alone. Don't try to figure out things by yourself. And don't try to reinvent the wheel. That's my number one thing. When I first got into marketing, I didn't know what I was doing. So I just asked people a bunch of stuff on what to do. They gave me a lot of stuff to do, and that filled up like a year of my time. but you definitely need somebody who has done it before and knows what they're talking about. Do not try to do it by yourself, because you might be the 1% to figure it out, or you might not be.
Yeah. So I agree with that. The other thing is, with your ads, try to provide value. I know this is a shocking revelation from everything I said today, but try to provide value. So like, if you look at, I mean, if you're a lawyer, you probably see my Facebook ads, and I've got one ad that works really well, which is where I'm banging a gavel in front of the camera. I don't know if you've seen that one, probably. But then I've got a ton of other ads that provide a lot of value, that actually say like, hey, lawyers, if you're spending too much, or if you're getting beat by big spenders in your market, here's how to compete with them. And I actually give really good advice. And then I say, if you want to learn more about this, then click this link and, watch this training and book a phone call with my office, all that type of stuff. So that's really the biggest thing, is basically, there's a couple things. First of all, you've got to understand your audience. You've got to understand that people don't have a long attention span. So you've got to get straight to the point. The other thing is that you've got to provide value. Another thing is, make sure that your videos are, if you're going to do videos or even pictures, make sure that they're very, what's the word? They're like pop, they're very contrasty. They're very vibrant. Vibrant is the word. You want to make sure that they're very vibrant. There's actually a really cool app that I just found. It's called Pixaloop. It's called, hold on, let me spell it for you. Pixaloop. And it's so cool because basically it animates, like, you can take a picture, like a still image, and it'll animate the sky going over your head. And like, if there's water, it'll animate the water. And it's so cool because it just gets people's attention. So that's something that's really important also. And something else I want to say about Facebook ads, like you were saying, a lot of people will use them, and I don't know if it's pixaloop.com. I know that it's Pixaloop. Pixaloop is the app. It's in the App Store.
Oh, okay.
One thing I wanted to mention about Facebook is that a lot of people will try Facebook ads. A lot of lawyers will try Facebook ads and be like, oh, I tried Facebook ads and they didn't work, so Facebook ads suck. And the reality is that no, Facebook ads don't suck. Facebook ads are a tool. This marker right here, for example, is a tool. And this is what I do with that tool. I draw crappy stick figures. However, there's other people that could draw an amazing picture with that marker. Same thing with Facebook ads. Some people use Facebook ads, they don't know what they're doing, and this is what their advertising campaign looks like. Other people can get on Facebook and create the Mona Lisa of advertising campaigns if they know what they're doing. I don't know if I'm that good, but I'm pretty good with Facebook ads. So it just comes down to, actually, like, it's not necessarily like Facebook ads don't work. Facebook ads absolutely work. You just have to know how to use them. You have to know a lot of stuff about Facebook ads. Hopefully that answered that question. I don't know if it did.
Yeah. Let's see. How can we as attorneys shake people out of their false sense of security that they can't have any legal problems due to the pandemic?
You just have to bring up problems that they didn't know they had. So like, for example, healthcare directives is a really good one right now, right? So you could say, like, people might not realize that, I mean, I don't know all the legalities, but like, if you're not married, for example, and your boyfriend ends up having to go into the hospital, there's probably going to be a lot of scenarios where you're not even going to be able to see them, or, or make decisions on their behalf if they want you to. So really what it kind of comes down to, it's calling out the problem and then offering the solution. Because there's a lot of people that are probably not even problem aware, like you said, if they have like a false sense of security. So it's creating value, it's asking a question. So like, when you do your Facebook post, the first line should ask a very direct question, so like in that, it would be like, if your boyfriend, or if you're unmarried, say if your unmarried partner, I don't know how you exactly would say it, but basically, if your boyfriend or girlfriend went into the hospital, would you be allowed to see them? You might be surprised by the answer. Something like that is your first line to really kind of make somebody that sees that say, go, wait a second, I thought, it kind of makes them think, it makes them problem aware, and then you can offer the solution in the video.
Awesome. Would it be helpful to offer free consultation if you call me approach to the PSA type of ad on Facebook or post on Facebook?
Yes. So, but you don't want to call it a consultation. Like the word consultation should be erased from your brain for the rest of your life. What you should do is you should say, if you have any questions, send me a message, comment below, or give me a call and I'll point you in the right direction. And if I can't help you, then I'll find somebody that can. It's the exact same thing as a consultation, but one sounds like a sales pitch and the other sounds like you're genuinely trying to help.
Yeah. We always say like, hop on a call. Like, let's just talk about this. Yeah. Consultation sounds like very, final, like you're actually making the hire when maybe you're still a little cagey, or you're just looking for information. You know, nobody wants to be sold on something that they're not really looking to buy yet. So if you just say like, hey, like I'm here to talk. If you want to schedule some time with me, I'll make some time for you, and we can just talk about this. Hop on a call. It's my favorite thing.
Here's what I always say: talk to the camera like you would talk to a friend. If your best friend from college called you up and said, I just got into a car accident, would you say, oh, well, call me Friday and I'll give you a free consultation? You know, you wouldn't do that. So talk to the camera like you would talk to a friend.
Great. And John asks, what's the ideal length for a Facebook video, minutes wise?
The ideal length is as long as it needs to be.
I was going to say, I thought I knew the answer to that, but one more from Jerome here.
Well, hang on a second. Let me clarify on that. Don't drag it on. Just get to the point. But it does, you know, like, I mean, I don't ever worry about how long my videos are. But that doesn't mean I do like 45-minute videos either. You know, it's like, I mean, it should just be like, you shouldn't try to get multiple points in one video. If there's like multiple topics, they should each be their own video.
Awesome. Yeah, Jerome asks, what is a reasonable marketing budget in terms of percentage of gross revenue?
Nick, you want to take this? You want me to?
A reasonable marketing budget as it pertains to your gross revenue. I don't really like to stick to a number, and at my company, we don't stick to a number either. Our philosophy is that come up with the best ideas possible, right? And then find out the costs later. So like, you know, when we were first starting out, we were a startup business, and I would find out things, and maybe it would cost $100,000, right? And I would bring it to my boss, and I would say, this is XYZ solution for us. This is how it can work. This is the ad. This is what it's going to get us. And then I determine whether or not that it's going to bring me the ROI that I want. So the answer is, it really depends, and it depends on your budget too. But we don't really limit ourselves to just a budget. I don't say like, oh, my budget doesn't let me do this, or my budget doesn't let me do that. I try to find the best ideas first, and then worry about how much it costs and how much it's going to bring me afterwards. I just find that a budget really limits us.
So what I do is I look at it, I take it as a more objective approach. I don't look at percentage of sales or anything like that. What I look at is I look at how much does it cost to acquire a customer. Because if it costs you $100 to acquire a customer and each customer is worth $5,000 for you, then you can spend a lot of money. You know, so it's like, and those are really simple numbers. But like what I do for my business, for example, is I break it down. So my biggest way that I sell stuff from myself is I have people go to a webinar and then book a call, and then on the call we sell them something, right? So what I first look at is, okay, what is the cost to get them into a webinar? And then I look at, okay, what is the cost to book them on a call? And then what percentage of calls will actually turn into sales? And then once you have that information, then you can actually assign a budget, because once you can make it profitable, then you really don't have a marketing budget. Like at the end of the day, whoever can spend the most to acquire a customer will always win. So what you have to do is you just have to figure out what is your, you've got to know your numbers. That's why it's so cheesy when they say know your number. Like a lot of this stuff, know your numbers, like all that stuff. I always feel like it's very cheesy, but it's super important, because if you know that it costs you, if you know that basically your profit on let's say you're an estate planning attorney and you charge $5,000 for an estate plan, but it's costing you $6,000 to acquire a customer, that's a major problem. But if every lead costs you, I don't know, let's say every consultation costs you $50 and you guys close 25% of your consultations. Well, now you know that, as long as you're getting consultations, then you're going to be making money, you can scale up. So I feel like I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this, but basically the gist is if you know if you know all of your numbers, then you don't really have an advertising budget. My company, like I've never actually looked at percentage of revenue compared to my marketing budget, because if your marketing actually works and you actually are paying attention to your numbers, then you can then you really don't have a marketing budget, because you should be profitable. So if you want to start small, start with small tests, and I wouldn't do it as a percentage of your budget, because if you're just beginning, the budget might be a bigger percentage, or it might be a smaller percentage, just depending on how far along your law firm is. But like Nick said, you might need to spend $1,000 on Google. I always say, you got to spend at least $30 to $50 a day to test Facebook ads out. So if you're a firm with, one client a month, that might be a significant portion of your budget, compared to a firm that's getting, 20 or 30 clients a month through referrals. That's not a significant portion of your budget, so that's how I look at it. I always pay attention to what's the cost per, every step of the, what's the cost of every step of the equation. What's the cost per lead? What's the cost per consultation? What's the cost per sale?
Oh, excuse me. Awesome. So we have a question about the team selfie hack.
Yeah.
Is there a real need for it to be a selfie? Can we just take a photo of the location / landmark, or is there something important about a person being in it?
Yes, it's actually very important, because you're going to upload them to the team section of your Google My Business profile. And because, and that basically, it gives you a reason why you have all these random pictures of these people. So if you just had random, like a picture of like the Lincoln Memorial, for example, I don't know why I'm thinking about Washington, D.C., but if you have a picture of the Lincoln Memorial, that doesn't make any sense. But if you have your administrative assistant standing in front of the Lincoln Memorial, that now makes sense why it's on your profile, and it makes it compliant. Otherwise, Google could flag you for spam.
Cool. And what's your take on using Fiverr for SEO?
Don't do it.
My take is it depends. It depends what you're asking for. Don't just hire somebody to do quote unquote SEO. Yes, definitely don't do that. But if you need specific tasks done, you can always go to Fiverr and try to outsource that, and you get what you pay for, honestly. So that's my take.
Yeah, we've tested it out before, but I found that, like, I'm trying to think if there's anything that I've really done recently. Like, we used, like, a couple of years ago, we did some stuff with Fiverr, but I think the quality just has gone down, and a lot of the really spammy stuff that's offered on Fiverr just isn't it. Like, Google doesn't fall for it anymore, from what I've seen. Like, we try to do a lot more high quality stuff. So yeah, we don't touch Fiverr at all for SEO. We use Fiverr for a lot of stuff, but not SEO services.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I use Fiverr to outsource like smaller tasks that I need, or bigger tasks that I can't.
Oh yeah, graphic design, all that type. Like, we use Fiverr. Chase, what are some of the things that we use Fiverr for right now? We use it for video editing. We use it for graphic design.
Yep, a lot of thumbnails, video editing, any of those cheat sheet like designs for covers for those. So we use it for a lot of stuff.
Also, if you get inundated with like the spam that Andy's mentioning on Fiverr, I've used Upwork before, and I love Upwork. I feel like the communication and the people that are on there are just significantly easier to deal with, and so I recommend them. Upwork.com.
Yeah, we use Upwork. We have like 40 contracts on Upwork right now. Yes, it's good.
Got one from Aletha here. Her family law and estate planning practice is less than a year old. Anything specific you would say for someone with a newer solo practice regarding marketing? Any differences in anything?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just go back to what we've been talking about, is just, and my thing is I do a ton of content. So Andy's thing is he does a ton of video content, but my team and I were constantly writing and putting out content. So like, what you can do is just provide value to your customers and start talking about problems that they might be having. So you're a new family law attorney. Make sure you have a really clean website. Make sure that your web design is really good, and that you have every call to action where it needs to be and stuff like that. But that's more technical. But just put out a lot of stuff, and make sure it isn't just boring and short and spammy. Spend some real time on it and provide quality content to your customers, to your audience especially. And then just try to be in those places that we've been talking about, like Facebook groups, answering questions for people, putting out video on your personal Facebook, and just let people know that you are the expert in your area, and the customers will come.
Yeah, again, I mean, I think that it's just more important than ever to create value and create content. You know, I feel like a broken record, but that's just the answer. It's providing as much value as you can, especially if you're a newer attorney. It's like, you know, you've got the opportunity, you're probably younger. So you've got the opportunity to kind of talk to a younger audience about a lot of these things that they don't have the answers to. Like, you know, child custody, everybody, especially family law, everybody's wondering what's going on with child custody, child support now that people are unemployed. You know, what about domestic violence issues, different things like that? Like, these are all hot topics right now. And if you can just create a ton of content and just create it with the goal of being as helpful as possible. Now, like Nick said, he does a lot of content, like written content. I do a lot of video content, and it's really a preference. What you're better at. For me, I can create a video in like 5 minutes, and it'll take me like 3 days to do a blog post. So that's why I do video, just because it's easier. So it's whatever you're comfortable with is the best way to do it, but just try to help as many people as possible. And that's really what you should do, is just create as much content, help as many people as possible.
Yeah, and just to go back to that, do what you're good at. So if you're like Andy and you're really good at doing video, like if I try to create a video, it literally takes me a week. I'm just really good at writing. I always have been. And a lot of my colleagues are good at writing, and that's what we do. So we push that. But stick to what you're good at.
Awesome. So Dion says they've gotten a lot of questions about the president's directive conflicting with mayor's directive regarding stay-at-home. So a recommendation regarding trying to be helpful versus charging a small consultation fee.
I don't know. What's the question?
I guess it's, you know, should you charge small consultation fees during this time, or should just try to give as much free advice?
Well, I mean, obviously the free advice is really what's going online. I mean, you know, deciding whether or not to charge a fee for a consultation is really a personal decision. It really depends on a lot of things, and I really can't advise on that. I know a lot of times people will use consultations as a way to kind of weed out tire kickers and stuff like that, which is fine. The question comes down to, is this a desperate times calls for desperate measures type of scenario? You know, if it's the type of thing where you know that you can, if you get somebody on the phone, you can probably close them. But right now people are hesitant to pay for a consultation, then maybe you need to start waiving the consultation fee right now. It's really kind of depends on your law firm and your specific industry, or sorry, not industry, your specific circumstance. I would guess, if I had to guess, that waiving consultation fees right now is probably a good idea, just because we're trying to get, you know, anything through the door that we can. But if you're fortunate enough that you're not in that scenario, then that would work.
Yeah, I agree. I think that a consultation fee is a little prohibitive. So if you're trying to get rid of the tire kickers, definitely a fee might help you do that. And one of my favorite things to do is like pretend that there's an upfront fee and that you're waiving it. I just feel like if I want to incentivize somebody, like, oh, we usually charge like $50 to get set up, but if you call me, you know, this week and you book a time with me, I'm going to waive that fee for you. Don't worry about it. And I just feel like that kind of gets people to say like, oh, they waived the fee and blah, blah, blah. But the consultation is supposed to be a tool for you to get somebody to convert, not a tool for you to make money.
Here's the other thing. Whether you charge a consultation fee or not, you should always kind of give them a list of what you're going to do in the consultation so that it seems much more valuable. So like, you know, during the consultation, you know, we're going to go over your case. We're going to look at all your documents. We're going to take a look at, I'm just making stuff up right now, but basically, like, if you can list like 3 or 4 things, like if you look at the emails that we sent for this webinar, we didn't just say, hey, it's a webinar for marketing your law firm in a crisis. We actually said during this webinar, we're going to show you how to market your law firm without spending any money. And we're going to show you how to get reporters to contact you, you know, like all these different things that we talked about. And it's, you know, it's all marketing. That's the whole thing, is that you got to show that's going to be a lot of value. And especially if you show them that they're going to do all this and it's free, that's great. Now, if you're going to charge for it, you definitely have to have that, because you got to show them what they're actually going to get, that it's not just a sales pitch, but you're actually going to go through, give them a custom plan, do all that type of stuff, or whatever the circumstance actually is that you're going to do for them.
Yeah, I just see Natalia. She commented, I've always had a better retainer success if and when I charge a full consultation fee. Honestly,
higher quality lead.
Exactly. And whatever works best for you. So if you find that it's prohibiting too many people, right, you might want to dial back the consultation fee. But if like I was saying before, if you do get inundated with leads and you do want to get rid of the tire kickers, it might be beneficial for you to have the consultation fee. So it's whatever helps you end up getting to the best possible outcome, right? Maybe you don't want to deal with all the leads, but you do want to get the best consultation or the best retainers. So you have to figure out what works best for you in that scenario. But if they're not necessarily beating down the door, my recommendation would be to not charge the consultation fee.
Another thing you can do to get higher quality leads, you'll get fewer leads, is ask for more questions on like your contact form or during your intake process, because every question that you ask is going to be like a lower percentage of people will answer it. Like if you just ask email address and phone, like if you just ask for their email address, for example, you might get like a 50% opt-in rate. But if you ask for email address and phone number and full name and last name and maiden name and, count and court date and, annual income, like all this other stuff, you might get like a 15% opt-in rate, but there'll be much higher quality consultations, just because of the fact that they gave so much more information. Go ahead, Chase.
Yeah. So for a quick follow-up on the team selfie hack, if your team is small, can you just have multiple pictures of you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could do that yourself. This is just basically like if people are sitting home bored anyway. At least if your team is like scattered across an area, yeah, you could do that. I mean, honestly, like if you want, go get in your car and drive around and just take pictures of different places. That's something you could do also. And just like pull up on a map, like go to Google Maps and like look and see, like go to Google Maps and search like, Boston, right? And you'll see Google will actually outline where Boston is. And then what you can do is just make sure that you're going around all the different parts of Boston of what Google thinks Boston is and taking pictures there. So if you can kind of like blanket the area, or like do the north, south, east, west, and then northeast, southeast, northwest, all the different combinations, that will make you much more relevant for the entire city.
All right. Someone asked, they don't want to connect the followers from their Facebook page, their law firm's Facebook page, with their personal Facebook page. They prefer to keep them separate. What are the pros and cons of that? Is that possible?
Well, so you've got followers on your Facebook page, or is it likes now? I think it's likes. You got page likes on your business page, and your personal page is friends. So the difference is that you're going to reach a lot more people on your personal page than you will on your business page. So what you can do if you want to keep them separate is you can actually set people as like acquaintances on your business page. And that's one way to do it. But I mean, like right now, it's kind of interesting, but like when you post in groups and different places like that, you really should be posting as yourself, because you really want to be marketing kind of as yourself, not necessarily as the firm, if you're going to be, doing this kind of information, this kind of high quality information, because people will relate to a person much better than they'll relate to a business.
I just find it really like corny and annoying when a business posts or like comments on like a post. So I'm just like, it's like weird. Like I see it on Instagram, they'll comment on something. I just much prefer like a person to person. And this way, you're speaking to as well.
I also hate when like an attorney will do a really good video, right? And then the headline or the status update will be attorney Mike Smith says this. And that Mike Smith is the one that wrote the freaking thing. You know what I mean? It's like, come on guys, like just make it personal, like you're a person too. And that's the other thing. Like people get hung up on the fact that they think they have to be perfect all the time. And actually you and I were just talking about this before this call. Like, Nick asked me like, are you going to wear a button down shirt? Like, what should we wear on this thing? And I was like, honestly, what I kind of started to realize is that as long as you're providing good information, people don't care what you're wearing, you know, like, so, and actually it can really go to benefit you. Like if you are creating videos and they're not produced, that's going to do a lot better. Like for me, for example, I've had videos where like my dog will be barking in the background or my kids will walk across the back or whatever. And, those videos typically do better because people can relate to me because they see that I'm a real person. And same thing with you. Like most people think that lawyers are kind of like this, like, they're almost like it's like at a different level type of thing, right? But if you can show that you're actually a real person, you know, and like you'd probably be better like wearing like, I don't know why I keep saying Boston. I think it's because Paul's in here. Wearing a Red Sox shirt and a Red Sox hat will probably do better for you than wearing a suit. You know what I mean? Just because it makes you a real person, it makes you relatable to all those people in your industry or in your market, you know? So that's another tip for you.
And for the record, I just wanted to blend in. I didn't want to be the guy wearing a full tuxedo at this webinar. He was gonna come in
I should have told you to wear a suit.
You should have. I would have done it. A suit with shorts on.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, Chase, who's next?
Yeah, Tom had one more on the selfie hack. Do you need to make sure that your location services are enabled?
Yeah, that is a good point. You have to make sure that location services are enabled on your phone. So what you do is you go into, I'm on an iPhone, you just go into settings. Actually, I think you just go into settings and then it's right in the middle here. Where is it? Oh, it's under privacy and then location services.
Awesome. And then once you have a good video and you post it on Facebook, do you separately go to YouTube, LinkedIn, etc., post a video in each website, or is there a way to link them?
You can use Buffer and that will post them to all of them. But I think that, well, YouTube you can't use. What was the question? Was it how to post everywhere?
Yeah. Basically, once you have a good Facebook video, you know, how do you post it? What's the best way to post it?
Actually, Chase, do you want to answer that? You post more than I do other places.
Yeah, well, we use Buffer to post on a lot of Facebook, schedule posts on Facebook. YouTube, you can schedule when you want to have it released, but you do have to manually upload it on YouTube. So that's the only thing. But then with Buffer, you can connect Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and everything. And then we had one person say that you had mentioned something about Google reviews being removed. Is that possible? I mean, how easy is that?
Yeah, well, are they asking how to remove Google reviews, or that Google has removed, or that Google has stopped allowing people to remove or leave reviews right now?
Yeah, I believe it's the stopped.
Okay. Yeah. So basically Google is kind of scaling back their team right now. So what they're doing is they're not approving they're not, what they say is they're not approving reviews right now and responses to reviews. Now, theoretically, if somebody leaves you a review, it's basically just stuck in pending right now and will eventually get approved. Hopefully that's the case. But I have not, I'm hesitant to tell lawyers, go get a ton of Google reviews, because it'd be a great time to do it right now. Everybody's sitting home. But I'm hesitant to tell a lot of people to do that because I don't want to end up giving bad advice and having you guys do a lot of effort. So yeah, what they're doing is they're just not approving anything right now.
Cool. And Joe asked if I want to focus on Facebook group marketing method, along with inviting your own Facebook friends to a group. What's the best method of promoting and inviting people to a legal-based Facebook group?
That's kind of a tricky one. Okay, so this gets into a much bigger topic. So the easiest way to grow a Facebook group, in my opinion, is you create a cheat sheet that follows that how-to without statement. So, if you're a family law attorney, it's basically how to, I don't know, what do people want right now? You got to figure out what do people want and what are they afraid of? So how to get as much time with your kids during a pandemic, even if you're afraid of socially separate. I don't know exactly. You got to think of what it is. Like, okay, so a good one is like, how to survive the pandemic without losing your house, even if you don't have the money, even if you lose your job. That's a horrible title. I don't know why I can't think of anything right now, but basically what you do is you run Facebook ads to that cheat sheet with the solution to the problem that they have. And then they download the cheat sheet. You require an email address for them to get for them to download the cheat sheet. Once they enter the email address on the thank you page, it says, "Thank you. Your cheat sheet has been emailed to you. Your next step is to join the Facebook group." And then there's a big button that says join the Facebook group. And because you got to remember, people are silently begging to be led. So if you tell them, like, don't ask them to join the Facebook group, say your next step is to join the Facebook group. And what we're actually going to do also is we're testing this out right now with some clients where we're actually doing an automatic redirect that basically says, "Thank you. Your cheat sheet has been emailed to you. Your next step is to join the Facebook group. Please do not close this window while you're redirected." And it takes them right to the Facebook group. But that's one of the best ways to do it. And then once you have the Facebook group, what you want to do is you want to make sure there's a lot of engagement in the Facebook group. So ask a lot of questions, post a lot of videos or a lot of pictures and things like that. And when there's more engagement, then people will join the group. The other thing is the name of the group is very important. Don't make it the car accident group. Make it the parents of teen drivers group. You know, it's got to be like, make it kind of like self-identifiable if you can.
Awesome.
You got anything, Nick?
Yeah. I don't quite go as far as inviting people, but whenever I do speak to customers, like at the end of a conversation that I'll have a new customer where they'll express certain needs or certain things that they want some feedback on that I don't necessarily know, but I know that my group can help them, is I just tell them to go join my group, or I'll say, like, I'll send you an invite to my group and I get them to do it that way. But the engagement thing is so important. I find that as a moderator, it's just really important to ask people questions rather than just post my own BS in my group and try to get feedback on it. It's more like I kind of start a conversation and then I let the conversation live a life of its own, not just try to be the conversation itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you can do like stuff like I've been doing stuff recently just to get engagement because I'm really trying to boost the engagement in the lawyer marketing Facebook group. Like I even posted yesterday, I posted something about Tiger King, which is like a huge topic right now. And I think I posted like something like Carol definitely killed her husband or something. Anybody that watched Tiger King knows what I'm talking about. But like just stuff like that. Like, and like the other day I'm at home, and again, going back to being a real person, I was playing Uno with my son. So I took a picture and I just posted like, having a board meeting with my coworker, take a picture and show me your coworkers, and people started sharing pictures of their kids and their pets and all that type of stuff. And it just gets really good engagement. And those posts, believe it or not, get much better engagement than the posts where I'm actually showing you how to actually, get clients and like do certain things, which is crazy, but makes a lot of sense. So I try to do both. I'm trying much harder to really focus on the engagement. And my point is, when you have engagement, Facebook's going to suggest the group to more people. And then when it suggests it to more people, that's when you're going to get, that's when it's going to grow organically. We have a client right now who, actually we got a couple clients right now. One is a criminal defense lawyer in Northern Virginia who I think his group's over 1,800 people now. And it's all because he's posting or engaging stuff. We got another one, an immigration attorney in Los Angeles, who his group is growing like crazy just because he's posting a lot of engaging stuff and people are asking questions.
Yeah, another thing that Andy talks about a lot is giving people a reason to join, not just telling them that, hey, join my group, but say, here's what you'll get when you join. I'll give you daily tips on this, or, the benefit of why they should join. Yeah,
you've always got to show the benefit. You've always got to think, what's in it for me from the perspective of the user.
All right. Yeah. If you have a Facebook group, how do you handle other attorneys joining the group?
Well, it's up to you. I mean, so for me, and Nick, you can answer this also in terms of your group. I don't let other marketers that I don't know in my group, because they just spam like crazy and they try to poach people and it just annoys everybody. So I particularly, I do have some marketers in there, but it's only marketers that I know personally that I know that they're not going to try to spam. Nick, what do you guys do?
So we do kind of the same thing, but we just have a policy that you can't share ads about yourself. You can post content if it's on your own website. I think you're only allowed to do it like 2 or 3 times a month. Joe handles all that for me. But we just make it so that it's all conversational based and that people aren't just selling their own services. Once in a while, we'll get somebody like, hey, who has a good recommendation for, somebody to manage my Facebook ads? And I'll have a marketer in my group say like, hey, feel free to reach out to me. And again, like, I know this guy, I have a relationship with him. And he's in my group. So it doesn't really bother me when people join. It's how they act when they get in there, if that makes sense. So if there's another attorney providing value in your group and he just, kind of helps to purport the conversation that you want to have and really helps people, I think that's a good thing. But if he is poaching your clients, I don't know. I would kick him out.
Yeah. I had somebody in my group that was messaging everyone. And they even messaged my wife, because my wife's in my Facebook group, and, messaging about, I don't remember what it was, like, hey, I saw you're in this group. You should join my Facebook, my group. I said to my wife, my wife was like, I was like, you probably shouldn't message the group owner's wife,
Yeah, probably not a good thing.
Yeah. So
That's fun.
And do you recommend promoting a group through Facebook ads?
I've never had a ton of luck with that, but you can definitely try it out. I don't think you can actually, what you have to do is you actually have to get like a bit.ly link and direct people to the group. If you're going to do that, I would do it to a warm audience. I wouldn't do it to a cold audience. And then I would also, you really have to really lead with the benefits. So join our Facebook, join the addiction recovery specialist group, where we provide daily tips on how to help your loved ones cope with addiction, how to, free resources available for people who are addicted in North Carolina, like stuff like that. Really hit heavy with the benefits. But I don't think you can link directly to a group. I think you have to go like bit.ly and then do the link there.
Yeah, we don't use Facebook ads, but what we'll do is we'll do like content from our website. Again, we write a lot of blog posts, and we'll do like a discussion based thing based on like legal marketing. And at the end of the post, we'll say, if you want to join in on more conversations and discussions just like this one, feel free to join our Facebook group, and we'll leave the link there, and then you can promote that link on Facebook.
All right, cool. All right, so we're going to do one more question, and then I have to run because I have a call at 4:00 with my clients for another hour where I do this just for them. Nick, thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you co-hosting this with me. Definitely, if you guys need an answering service, you want to figure out how to handle your calls, what's your website? Answeringlegal.com?
That's me.
All right, cool. And if you guys want to talk to me at all about social media, anything you want to figure out how I can help you with social, go to call.andrewstickel.com, and we'll help you out there. Chase, do we have any last calls or last questions?
Let's see. There. Just another one about criminal defense, with everything that's happening. How can they kind of boost up interest, boost up their services?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's provide value and provide information on things that are happening right now. I mean, like right now, there's so much conspiracy theory that's going on right now. Like I've heard everything from basically the government has unleashed coronavirus so that people will stay in their house and they won't protest when, like when Trump cancels the election, what I mean? Like I've heard so many things like that, They're
changing the batteries in the birds and they need us all to be inside.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many things. So and I'm not saying you should play up the conspiracy theories, but basically there's so many things. There's so many questions about people's rights that are coming up every single day right now that you could just have a field day creating content about what's realistic and what isn't. It's funny. I somehow ended up down this wormhole a couple days ago about can they actually cancel the elections and figuring out what would happen with that. And what I found is that, it's actually really complicated. It was a really interesting story about what happens if let's say they do decide to cancel the elections, which by the way, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but what I'm saying is it was really interesting basically. Well, if that happens, then it would actually benefit the Democrats for a couple different ways that I don't remember specifically why, but, just stuff like that. Just there's so much stuff you can talk about. You can talk about what happens if you're on probation or parole and you can't, and part of your condition is you're supposed to maintain employment and you just lost your job. What if you can't meet with your probation officer? What if you are on house arrest and you have an ankle bracelet on and you have to go to the hospital? What if you have an ankle bracelet on, your spouse has to go to the hospital? You know what I mean? Like there's so many things. Like literally just think of every single problem they could potentially have right now and just create content on it and just help
the
people.
Headlines in my head are going crazy right now. Like myth dispelled. Can you do this during quarantine? Can blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Even if you just help people discover the truth about what's going on, you're still providing value and you're still educating them.
Exactly. And just create videos that are designed to share. You know, you can start the video, be like, hey, everybody, everybody knows I'm a criminal defense attorney and I want to just set the record straight on something. So by the way, if you know somebody that needs this help, that needs to hear this, click the share button and share it because I want to get this message out. So a lot of people don't know this, but if you're under quarantine, you actually are allowed to leave your house under certain circumstances. First circumstance you're allowed to leave your house is this. And you know what I mean? Like, just create stuff like that and people will share it and your name will get out there and then people will start messaging you. Another thing to pay attention to, and I have not said this yet, is you need to pay attention to your filtered messages, because if somebody messages you that's not a friend on Facebook, it's going to go into your filtered messages and that's where messages go to die. So you got to go in there and you'll see people and you'll find a lot of messages in there that people have sent you where they're asking questions. So that's a big thing, is filtered messages.
I made that mistake a couple of years ago.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up right now. If anybody has any other questions, definitely feel free to shoot me an email, Andy@socialfirestarter.com. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you guys for hanging out. We've got 211 people still here. We hit 500. The room was completely full at one point, which is pretty amazing. I think when we set this up, we were like, hey, maybe we'll have 100 people on. And we hit 500 people on. So that's
still have double
amazing.
that at the end of it. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, thanks everybody for hanging out. Oh, can you restate that Facebook video post with one other example? Which Facebook video post is that?
I think maybe they're talking about the examples for criminal defense that you just gave.
Oh, example for criminal defense. I don't even remember what I said.
Oh, something about probation. What happens if you?
Oh yeah, probation. Oh crap, what was it? I can't remember. Click now.
You just lost your job because of layoffs. And you're on probation, or.
I'm totally drawing.
I'm drawing a blank too. I don't even remember. I remember the intro was really
John,
good.
send me an email and I'll think about it and I'll send you some stuff. Andy@socialfirestarter.com.
And if you have any questions about phones or anything like that, procedural, or you just want to chat about answering services, I am Nick@answeringlegal.com. And Thanks everybody for coming. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon. And good luck, everybody. Definitely, if you implement this stuff, let me know about it. I want to hear how it goes for you. And definitely want to hear some success stories. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.